Hello, my name's Caitlin, and this is a new project that I'm working on where I'm going to discuss books that have become movies and how good they are. Sometimes we get amazing movies that have come from amazing books. Jurassic Park, for example. Amazing book, amazing movie. To Kill a Mockingbird. Amazing book, amazing movie. Not all the time does this work out so well though. So I'm going to be investigating the good ones, the bad ones, and all in between. At least I can fit into my schedule. So on that note, this is the first book that I am going to be talking about, and that's because it literally just became a movie. Well, not just became, it just released a movie. They just released the movie, A Wrinkle in Time. I read this book actually in about 5th grade, and it stuck with me now until I am much older. I've read it a few times because I do really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite books from childhood, and I've read it as an adult actually twice and still enjoy it. So when they said it was going to become a movie, I was both very excited and very scared. And then I saw the trailer and I got very scared and not so excited anymore. Because it's a Disney movie, they definitely go the CGI route, the fantastical route, the 3D route, the bright colors and the fancy people and the bright wardrobes, all of that stuff that has nothing to do with the book. The book is so much warmer and about the characters and about the message. And of course, the movie obviously is visual and it's Disney and they want to make their money. I'm sure it had a very large budget, so I get it. It's a movie and it's also a children's story and a children's movie, and so we have to keep that into mind when we're talking about all of it. Back in 1962, when Madeleine L'Engle wrote this book, she was actually reading about things like quantum physics. So she decided to put this book together for children. It has a female protagonist and it's sci-fi. It was rejected by like over 20 publishers, you can imagine, because it was not a very popular thing to have a female in a sci-fi book at the time and make it a kid's story. But these days, I feel like this is golden. Obviously why Disney picked it up, because it's a book that's related to the STEM industry and everybody is, you know, trying to get women into STEM. So that's not really why I love this book, but it does give a good message in that ladies can be good at math and be interested in science and save the planet. So I went into the movie with a lot of trepidation because not only did the trailer kind of put me off, but the reviews for this movie are not that good. I think it's about a 50 something on Metacritic, not too good. So between the trailer and then the reviews, I went into this movie thinking it was going to be garbage. And I'm going to be honest with you, 100% honest with you in how the movie made me feel. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I kind of enjoyed it. So a brief synopsis on the book. It centers around a girl, a young girl who is having a tough time. Her name is Meg and she's very smart, but she's not really applying herself. Unfortunately, her dad went missing about 4 years ago, and ever since, she's kind of not really done so well in life and school. She calls herself the delinquent child. Things are not going very well for her. Now her dad and her mom are both scientists, and so it's a very smart family. In the book, she has 3 siblings, 2 twins that are younger than her, and then a youngest brother, Charles Wallace. The movie doesn't have the twins, but that's okay because they're not actually part of the story very much at all. So the movie centers around Meg, her youngest brother Charles Wallace, and a third guy they pick up right before the adventure starts named Calvin. And in the book, Calvin is a pretty great character. He's just like has a big heart and he's always there to help and he's just encouraging. In the movie, this is one of the areas where the movie fell flat for me, in that the character of Calvin, they made him like a cheerleader for Meg, which yes, he is that in the book too, but he's so much more in the book. In the movie, he literally is just a character that looks at Meg with googly eyes, tells her she has beautiful hair, and keeps like saying all these nice things to her to increase her confidence and convince her that she is beautiful inside and out and all, you know, that lovey-dovey stuff. And while okay, yeah, but I feel like they just left too much on the table with Calvin. It's definitely a missed opportunity. I don't know if it was time or maybe the actor himself didn't fulfill the role very well. I don't really know, but I feel like that they definitely missed the mark on for sure. So we have those three characters. Then we also have the three women that come along to help. The book describes them as stars, not like celebrity stars, although they did cast some amazing celebrity stars. However, in the book, it's a little bit more sci-fi in that they are actually stars. Well, they were stars. Anyway, I digress. We can call them guardians at this point because they come to Meg's aid to help her find her father because her father has a big part in the universe right now. So this is where I feel like the movie actually did a really good job, and I was totally shocked because yes, Mindy Kaling, Reese Witherspoon, Oprah Winfrey, oh my goodness, three amazing stars that I would never have thought for these roles. And when I saw them in the trailer, I was like, ah! However, in the movie, they hit the nail on the head because every single one of those actors fit those three guardian women perfectly. Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Which. Mindy Kaling, oh my goodness, I thought that she was going to be the annoying character that she plays in The Office. However, I was completely wrong. Her character was just so cute. And I mean that in like a nice way. Like, she was just so beautiful, and her character, Mrs. Who, is known for talking in quotes, and they did that very well. I feel like she was perfect for it, and it totally took me by surprise. They did also kind of modernize it because the book was written in 1962. A lot has changed since then, so they did definitely modernize the book and the story a bit, and Mrs. Who does happen to quote even Outcast at one point in the movie. The second character, Mrs. Whatsit, is played by Reese Witherspoon, and she's the more colorful, a little bit more outspoken. And you know what? Reese Witherspoon played herself pretty much. If you've seen her in some of her other movies or shows recently, you kind of know what I mean. She's that gabby, judgmental, kind of like goes a little too far sometimes. This is exactly the same character, and she plays herself really well, so I thought it was pretty good actually. And then of course Oprah Winfrey as Mrs. Which, and she did a fantastic job. Mrs. Which is larger than life, and they literally made her larger than life at one point in the movie, in the beginning of the movie. And I mean, it's Oprah Winfrey, she literally is larger than life, so in a way it was perfect. And there's a scene in the movie where she's giving a speech about, oh, I guess I should give a little bit of plot point. So they go on a rescue mission to find her father, and in this rescue mission, they discover that there is a darkness consuming the universe. I mean, you had to know this was like a save the world type movie, right? So they discover this darkness that's plaguing the universe and taking over planets and making them dark, taking the light and bringing the darkness on them. And that's what's happening to planet Earth at the moment. That's why people are so evil to each other and mean and jealous and do terrible things. And so there's a part in the movie where Oprah is doing a voiceover, and we're watching people do terrible things. Not really like, you know, as terrible as they could be, because this is a children's movie and it is Disney. So we're watching things like a girl who looks at fashion magazines and is always watching her weight and judging herself. And Oprah's speech, while I'm, you know, kind of cliche and a little cheesy probably, it got me a little teary in a way because it's true, there is a darkness plaguing the planet. I mean, just humans in general. There's a lot of evil within many of us. And so the speech just goes on how the darkness takes over humanity one by one. And so it was a very touching speech, and this is where I feel like the director did a very good job. Ava DuVernay is a semi-famous director. She also directed Selma, which was a large hit, and so it got her a lot of fame for that. She's done a lot of other smaller movies that are not as popular, so Selma is definitely her most popular. And she's more known for conversational screens or shots, and I don't know if she's ever done anything so fantastical like this movie before, and maybe that's where it kind of fell off for me a little bit. But the shots in the beginning of the movie where we're learning about the father and the daughter relationship, and then Oprah's speech, I feel like this is where the director did excel. She did a good job in this first half of the movie. I would say yeah, about first half, maybe first third, first half of the movie, I really enjoyed. And then we get into the adventure part of the movie, and it got very Disney for me, and just kind of, you know, I saw it in 3D, so they're just doing the effects for the 3D aspect of it. It's just so much CGI that's just like, really? And I feel like in the book it's way more subdued, and they don't do such crazy things. There's not as much drama in the book. I mean, there's a part where they're like having to get thrown over a wall, and obviously Disney added some dramatic effects because it's a movie. I get it. They have to sell tickets to people that want to see more than the story. I get it, but I was there for the story. So we do see some other characters along the way. They go visit the Happy Medium, which is wonderfully played by Zach Galifianakis, who I just love Zach Galifianakis. He's just, I don't know, he's just like, it's always such a lovable character, even when he's not lovable. I thought he did a good job in the role of the medium. He added some humor to the movie, which wasn't really humorous to that point. So later on we get introduced to Michael Pena, who is more on the dark side, and he does a very good job too about being kind of creepy. Now, my major gripes with this movie, somewhere along the lines where they start going to the planet with the darkness, is where it kind of lost me. It got a little too, I don't even know how to explain it. It got a little too silly. It got a little too silly. Now, okay, it's a kid's movie, and I'm not a kid, so I don't really know. Maybe I'm just expecting too much at this point, but up until the second half of the movie, it wasn't silly. It was when it just, it just got dull and boring and slow, and that's not how the book was. The book, I've read this book so many times, and I can like fly through it in one sitting because it's just so good. But the second half of the movie it just wasn't there for me. And I mean, there's even like a part where the tentacles of the darkness are grabbing her and hugging her and throwing her all around. It's just like, what is happening? So aside for the calamity of the CGI and the loss of the character of Calvin and a few other points where it was just kind of like, I thought it was pretty enjoyable still. And of course, it's a Disney movie, and it gives a great message of love, and that love conquers all, even if your planet is being consumed by a darkness that's taking over everything. All you have to do is love your father enough to rescue him. I mean, it's a Disney movie, no spoilers, but you had to know, they're not gonna like kill him. Other things to note, Chris Pine as the father, I actually went in thinking that he was going to be the darkness. He wasn't the darkness, he was the father, and he was very heartwarming, and the relationship between Storm Reid and Chris Pine, perfect. Very well cast at. I don't know who's in charge of that, but they did a very good job because both of them played that part very well. The youngest kid, Charles Wallace, in the book is my favorite character. He's just like this like know-it-all little kid who knows that he shouldn't be too arrogant even though he's like 5 and can't even read. And in the movie, he just was a little too blah, boring. Just kind of missed the mark for me with that character. The end where Charles Wallace plays a very big part. I don't want to give away any spoilers. Let me just say it didn't fit for me, but that's just because that whole second half didn't fit for me, including Charles Wallace, and it's unfortunate because it could have been really good. Even with my gripes about the second half of the movie, I really enjoyed the first half. I really enjoyed the 3 Guardians. I thought overall it gives a good message about love and light conquering the darkness. think one of the reasons though that I did enjoy it is because I did read the book so many times and I do love the book, and I think the book kind of filled in the gaps for me. Perhaps if you haven't read the book, the movie would make less sense. I don't really know, but maybe that is where the reviews kind of came off, because I would give this movie, oh gosh, I would give it like a 5 out of 10 probably. You can't give it like a 7 out of 10 because that's like really high. And like a 6 is kind of like nothing. 5, I mean, it's like a 5 out of 10. It's that second half. The second half just kills it. I was reading the reviews for the movie and one of them called it preachy. It's a fun little fact that actually the book has very, very religious undertones purposely, and they just left all that stuff out of the movie. So technically it is preachy, and Disney just left that part out of the movie. So obviously if you haven't read the book, you wouldn't have known that. But in the book, she talks about God and about how the darkness has been around for a while and has had many people fighting it. All of the wonderful people that have lived on planet Earth have fought the darkness throughout history, including people like Leonardo da Vinci and also Jesus Christ. Overall, I feel like if the movie had done its goal of probably trying to be a movie that adults can watch and still entertain kids in the way that Pixar does that so well, I feel like they got a little jumbled up in all of it and trying to find its identity. And because of that, it started off very strong and then just kind of petered out towards the end. I liked it because I got to see the relationships that I grew up with from the book on the screen and got to see some cool actors doing it in the process. And it was also kind of fun just to be along the ride. Obviously no Oscar winner, and they did miss a lot of marks, but it could have been a lot worse. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this where I take a book and a movie and I compare them, then do subscribe. This is a brand new channel and I have a lot more stuff to come. If you have any more suggestions of your favorite books to movies or the ones that were really, really bad, then do put them in the comments below. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, my links are in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.